So with this program, we've got the connection that connects to the database. I sent you a video clip on how to connect it, so I hope all of you could get that working. You'll see if you opened it the first time, you got like lots of errors, and it's just because it's trying to connect to this database and it couldn't. So the only thing you needed to do was on your ADO connection, you needed to go to the connection string and then just link it to the new file, make it connected, then go to your two tables and make both of them active. Then it would have appeared here as well. So you'll see your two ADO table components. I renamed them to now a TBL PPE and a TBL requisition. So generally, that's what you can expect up until even in grade 12. They like renaming your component to the same name as the table itself. You'll see if you look at the bottom, the component name is TBL requisition. And if you go down, okay, you'll see the table name is just requisition. But a lot of times the table in the database is also called TBL requisition. So they like calling these components similar to what the database is, but also because it's an ADO table, that's why it starts with TBL. And then requisition is the table name. ADO query we're not using, it goes with SQLs, but then our data source is what we display. Alright, so then you just needed to do all these buttons. Okay, you'll see there's 8 buttons that has to do with the PPE table, and then 3 buttons that has to do with the requisition table. And then 2 buttons here that will display each of the individual tables. So you'll see displaying the tables code, those two was already done for you. Yes, talk to me. That's sort of the idea of this ADO query or the ADO component query is for SQL statements. You'll see once, so the idea, the flow, how the flow should go, grade 11, second half of year, we do code construct. Then end of year, grade 11, we teach you SQLs, but SQLs like on its own. Then grade 12, first term, we teach you how to take those SQL statements and put them in this query. And then just like with the source, remember with the source, like with these two, when you wanted to show one, you'll put it to your data source. Look at the code. The data source, data set, you put to that ADO component, the ADO table. And if you wanted to see the other table, the data source data set you put to the other one. Similar to that, we can change our data source to extract it from here. And then this query could be like your SQL statements. Like I think what you would have already done, what you would have already done in SQL, you would have done like a select statement. Remember that you do something like select a field from a table where age is greater than 10 or something like that. That you do something like that. Alright, so if we look at this table here, let's say we wanted all the people where the amount that was ordered was 20 or more. So then in there you can make a query, select star from this table where amount is greater than 20. And then that SQL you'll put into this component. And then what you'll do is you'll say your data source, the data set should be equal to the ADO query. Then it will actually run that statement for you, and then it will only display those records for you. So this query is sort of creating another table, creating another table for you, but depending on the query itself, on your select query. And then you can display the information here. So this one basically just goes with SQL statements. Your SQL statements you put in there, and it will run it so it can display or do whatever needs to be done with that query. So that's why I said for now we're not using this, but we like putting it down just so that we get used to that this query should also just be there. It's like one of our components we're using a lot when we get to that stage. All right, when we go to our, let's start with these answers. PPE dot next. Oh, I already gave the answer now here. So if we want to go to the next PPE, what is our line of code? What do we put in here? PPE. Dot next, yes. Right, and that just takes us to the next one. So to go to the previous one, what do we say? Come guys, we need everybody to pop. Yes, tell us again more only. It's fine. TB? Yeah. Yes, prior is to go back. Our next one is last. It is a tongue twister. PPE dot last. Alright. And then our next one is to go to the first one. Yeah, so it's DBL PPE. So it's the component name and then dot first. So the dot comes after. Alright. Okay, so that's the easy ones. Let's see the next one. So if we want to add a new PPE, which one is this one though? Is this the PPE table? Let's see, at the source, it's displaying our requisition. Just going to change it to PPE. Alright, so PPE one has got a code, product, supplier, quantity, and contact number. Alright, so if we want a new PPE, get the info from input boxes. Alright, so who can help me? What do I need? Okay, before I do this, this field is actually a string. So we want to keep all of them strings is better. If you made a mount real, that's fine. It's not an issue, that one. But when we're doing our input or new, it doesn't matter. Keeping them string is easier because then a string will always work. And then a real will only work if it's really a real or not. But if it's then like if you made string, real, and then integer, then suddenly contact number would have been wrong because it was actually a string, and then you get an error. But if you just made them all string, doesn't matter what data type they are in the database, it will still work fine. So it's just better keeping them string. Yeah. But I know there are some people, if you've got some sort of a OCD thinking, "Eish, sir, but a amount is not a string," then it's fine. Make it a double. Just make sure that you're correct about it. Then that's fine. No problem. Yes, talk to me. Yes, the leading zero. Yes. See, if you take your calculator, try to type in a telephone number on your calculator. You'll see there's no way you can get that first zero. You can't, and that's what happens to integers. So you can't actually type that first zero. It just removes it the whole time. Yeah, no problem. So that's our main reason for wanting to rather keep it strings. Alright, so now we did all the input boxes. So I quickly did that for you because I think that's not the most difficult part. Now, once we've got all the input sorted, what's our next step? If we want to add. Yes, so we need to put it in insert mode first. Perfect. So now the table's in insert mode. Now what now? You can, even if you... Yeah? No, that's perfect. It doesn't matter. Yeah, if you did that first, that's fine. Got no influence of where it is. Okay. And then I want to sort of say, once you do the TBL insert, once you do that, maybe do the last line. What's the last thing we need to remember to do then? What is our save? Yes. So I would suggest once you do the insert mode, do the post as well, and then you put all the stuff in between. So personally, I wouldn't have created the variables. I would have put them in there immediately. But you can create the variables as well, which we did now. So what do we do now? Once it's in insert mode, before we do post, how do I actually add the new person now? Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. All right. Now, do you agree we just do that with all of our variables? So you'll just go TBL, PPE, and then the next one is product. I'm not even going to do the rest. That one thing you can maybe do just to make sure is just go check what the, where's this thing? Oof, I don't know where this program is now. I wonder where this program is now though. So you can open the database and then just have a look, like a table PPE. You'll see it's a number, then it's text, number. Oh, it's not actually amount, it's quantity. And then contact number. Alright, so it's code, product supplier, quantity, and contact number. Alright, you'll see contact number is text. Oh, I wanted to see if there's a primary key. So you'll see code has got the small key on the side. So that means your code, you can't have a duplicate value in code. So we've already got up until 11. Alright, so that means I'm just going to do this. Let's play this program. Let's see if it works. Alright, now table PPE. So we can just go next, first, previous, last. Okay, so that all works. Let's go new. Now it's going to ask for my code. Hello, hello. Ay, ay, ay. So early. Sure. All right. Aisha, it is. Right, so I'm going to add number 12, and then my product's just going to be all A's, and then my supplier is going to be all B's, amount is going to 123, and contact numbers 123, and there you'll see it. But remember, I only added the first two, so it added it, so it works fine. So you'll just now just have all the other fields here. I don't, okay, let me just do it. So it's product, and then we've got supplier. These are supplier. And now remember what we saw in our database, that the table itself didn't have amount, it was quantity. PPE. But my variable is called amount. So my variable must go to that field. And then my TBL PPE. So the what's this contact number? Contact number must be contact number. Alright, and that's our insert button. Any questions on this? Everybody good? I'm going to pick up the pace a little bit. So I'm going to assume you guys will stop me when you've got a question. Yes, ask me. Oh, we can. So mine already showed it. So generally I want to say a good rule of thumb is when you run it and it works and it adds it automatically, or you can already see the difference, then don't worry about refresh, otherwise put refresh. So your refresh, there is no mark allocated for refresh. This is the add part. If they want to give a mark for refresh, they'll actually say in the question, they'll say add new PPE, get info from input boxes, and then they'll ask you, please ensure that the table is updated showing the new value. And then you'll know, like if you see it, like there's a sentence that sort of prompts you that it wants something like a refresh, then you need to add it. Alright, but maybe it's good, I mean, if you're adding it, they're not going to take away marks. So better safe than sorry. So refresh, if you want to put the refresh, go for it. Alright. Then our second one, removing a PPE. So remove PPE, ask for the PPE code to remove. So we're going to ask for this code and we want to remove that specific one. Alright, so this is a nice one. So who wants to quickly guide me through this one? We want to remove that specific one. So I'm waiting for somebody who can, more than welcome to talk and tell me. Okay, so but you can see we actually asked for code. So let's just change it to product code. Okay. So then we can ask the user for that, the product code, and we can use our input box. Okay. So who wants to guide him? How do we, so that algorithm is perfect. So we ask the user for which one, and then we want to go through the whole thing. So how do we do that though? Yes. So we need a repeat loop. Perfect. And you remember with a repeat, it's a conditional loop, meaning there's 3 parts to it. So when do I want to stop? At the end of what? Yes. Perfect. So when we reach the end of the file, we want to stop. So if this is my condition, what do I need to do before the loop? Initialize. How do I initialize that PPE? Yes, we need to start at the beginning. And then once we initialized, what do we need to do on the inside the whole time? Remember, yes, perfect. Remember those 3 go together. Alright, so this would do that loop for you. This will start at the first one, go through each record until it reaches the end. Alright, so that's our loop taking us through everything. So what else do I need now to do here? While we're going through it, what do we want to do? Alright, so it's a if our product code is equal to what? Yes. So we want to see if that code we're looking for is inside the table at the code field. Okay, and if we find that, what do we want to do? Perfect. DLPPE dot delete. Perfect. All right, and then at the end, so this is sorted actually, but what else would you maybe want to do? Yeah, so table PPE, refresh or open close. Yes, 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 you can. How do you want to end it then? You can go with break. A break will also end it for you. Or you can add another condition. You can create a variable, found is true or false, make it true inside here, and then until end of file, or it's found. Yeah, you're welcome to do that. Especially in this case, remember, let me quickly just finish this one. So with this one, because the code is the primary key, there won't be more than one. So that's why you could maybe want to break it. But let's say we were looking for a name and you want to delete multiple of them, like all occurrences of that specific name, then you wouldn't want to have a break because you want to carry on even though it's found. So it depends on the question. Yes, but with this one, because the code is the primary key, there will only be one of it. So this is good thing to actually, once you find it, to stop it, because once you found it, there won't be another occurrence. Yes, you'll see when I added the post there, we actually got an error saying it's not in insert or edit mode. So only when it's insert and edit, you can use post. Um, so you'll see the remove, like if I say remove number 5, it just removes by itself. So you sort of, you don't need to save it. It will just go by itself. All right. Okay, then changing our PPE. Where did that thing go now? Okay, here it is. Ask for the PPE code and a new amount, then change that in the DB. So we just want to ask for the code, then change the amount inside here. So I'm going to just save us some time. So let's grab our delete. And we paste it in there. All right, so with our change, we'll still ask the guy, which code? Okay, so we're not doing a delete now. And this is now change. So which product you want to change, which code? Again, we have to loop through. So we started our first one, we repeat until we're at the end with our next, we're refreshing. And then if we find that product code, only thing is we don't want to delete, we want to update the amount by putting the new amount in. So what will my line of code be there? Okay. And then yes, so we need to put our table PPE in edit mode. Now it's in edit mode. Now what do you do next? So we're going to use the edit box to get the new amount, but then where we're going to put it? Yes. Yes, we're changing the quantity. Sorry, say again. Yeah, so do you agree? We're going to go to our TBL PPE and we go to the quantity. Yes. Quantity. It's going to become our input box. And then after we've done that, what do we need? And now we can do our post. Just saving that. Put it in edit mode. Change that. And then post it. Yes. No, that's fine. You can do that. Yeah. You know what? It actually needs to be inside here. I'm just thinking, in this case, it would be fine because again, we're looking at product code. So there'll only be one of them. So in this case, it would work fine. The problem is, let's say we looked at the supplier name. Let's say this supplier increased their quantities. So we wanted to do that. The problem would be, once you find the one, you're going to put it edit mode, change the quantity. And then you're not saving it. So then when you find the next one, it's going to want to put that also in edit mode. And then it'll get confused because then it's going to say, but the other record's already in edit mode. And then it sort of doesn't know what's happening here. So you'll need to actually put it inside, because you put it in edit mode, make the change you want to do, and then save it. And then go look for the next one. When you find it, put it in edit mode, make your change, save it. So you need to save it after every event, if I can say it that way. Alright. So yeah. So in this case it would have been fine, but I wouldn't put it there because then you're going to learn it wrong. And in most cases it wouldn't work. This is the place where it should be in all cases. It will always work here. Your way it will only work sometimes. So yeah, better here. Alright. Then total quantity. So we just want the total of all the quantities added together. Add all the amounts of PPEs together, display in a show message. Alright. So do we agree we want to go through all the records? So for that we need to just go to our table PPE. We start at the first one. We do our repeat until our TBL PPE is at the end of the file, and every time we want to take our TBL PPE to the next one. Alright, so that will loop through it for us. But now how do I add all of them together? What do I need to do with that? Of type? Why real? Why real? Quantities. Yes. Yeah, so because it's quantities, integer is the right one. Because you won't, well, okay, well, technically you do get a half a product, but you don't want to. If you've got a store, you don't want a half a Kit Kat on your shelf, then something went wrong. So I do think it happens, but we don't actually want to record it that way. So we'll rather want, when you look at quantity or, yeah, quantities of products, you want integer. Obviously, if you're doing like a manufacturing plant, you might have a product that's like half completed. Then it could be real. So it depends on what you're doing. But we're doing a store here, so I think integer is the right way to go. Alright. Now we've got that. What do we need to do more? Yes. So we need to initialize our variable. Yeah. Inside our loop. Perfect. So total must become whatever total was plus PPE. And then at the end we just display total. But we just need to change our integer to a string. All right, everybody good?